Today we're discussing health. Of course, we like to bring you your favorite doctor, our favorite doctor. Dr. Na Asheli Ashite of Novel Wellness Center has joined us this afternoon to discuss scoliosis. Hello, Doc.
Hi.
Welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I call her the spine doctor.
Yeah.
Always with the spine.
Yes,
Decompressing.
Regenerative medicine. When I hear certain terms, I remember her.
Yeah. Doc, today we're discussing scoliosis.
Yes, we are.
What is scoliosis?
So scoliosis is a spine deformity. Now, usually when you look at the spine from the front or from the back, it should be one straight line.
Okay.
But with scoliosis, you'd see some curves. You know when you see people from the back and then the back looks a bit curved or it looks like a C or an S? That is scoliosis. And they are varying degrees. So yes, as we can see on the screen, the one on the left has what we call a scoliotic curve, because instead of being straight, it's bent towards the side. So that is scoliosis.
What is causing this, and at what point in a person's life does this happen?
So there are different causes of scoliosis. Sometimes it's genetic. So that means somebody in your family may have it and you would have inherited that gene. Sometimes it may be from a car accident or some injury. Some children develop it during the birthing process. Yes, you know, sometimes birth can be a bit traumatic depending on how the child came out, whether we call something a forceps birth. So sometimes they use something like tongs to pull children out. It could be anything that happened in the first few days of the child that can also lead to scoliosis. And for a large number of the population, we say it's idiopathic. About 80% of scoliosis we say is idiopathic, which means that we don't know what caused it.
Oh.
Yes, so it just developed, poor posture, sometimes in adolescence. So when kids are starting their puberty, during that time, scoliosis can just appear. So, and it's more common in girls. So it's more common in girls.
Very interesting.
Yes. So I always say once your kid is getting to about 10 years of age, you want to be looking out for the signs. If there are any structural changes, then you want to pay attention to it.
But Doc, you know, growing up, our school bags, they're quite heavy. Your books, you want to pack everything in your bag. And even lately, I realized a lot of parents are adding lunch packs and all of that hanging behind the kids. Is that something that could also contribute to this deformity?
It can. Not only school bags, but if you're carrying anything that is heavy or anything that throws your posture out of the norm over a long period of time, that can lead to some abnormal curvatures of the spine. Yes.
So we can say that people like head porters could develop scoliosis
over
time.
A period of time.
Laborers, people who carry, cement.
Yes. People who are bending a lot, putting their spines in weird postures. Yes.
Is it likely to happen even after a person has grown? If it's not an accident and you're already 35, 40, you can develop scoliosis?
Yes, you can. There's another type called degenerative scoliosis. That happens as you're getting older. Again, unfortunately, in women, when you start having osteoporosis, that is when the bones start to weaken. Sometimes, because the bones are not as strong, they start to bend, and that can also turn into scoliosis.
Okay, but Doc, do we have types?
Yes.
In terms of the scoliosis?
Yes, so there are so many different types. You can have scoliosis. So if this is the spine, you can have a C curve. So a C curve scoliosis is like one big curve. And then you can also have what we call an S curve scoliosis.
Okay.
So the S curve is two different curves. So one is going this way, one is going the other way.
Okay.
So the S curve is obviously more complicated because you have two different angles. And then in this, you can also have the congenital scoliosis. That's the one you get from birth. Then we have the genetic one. We have the degenerative one I just mentioned. As you get older, that can happen. We have ones from trauma.
Okay.
And then also sometimes when kids have conditions like cerebral palsy, or we call something muscular dystrophy. So already their muscles are not well developed. That can also turn into scoliosis.
What of our sleeping posture?
Sleeping posture, unless it's like really bad, you know, but those are what we call micro trauma. So little things that we do on a daily basis. If you are already predisposed to other conditions and then you don't sleep well, then that could develop into scoliosis.
Doc, we also know that our education is not there yet. So in many communities, if something like this is happening, you're likely to have parents or traditional leaders or all these people come up with all sort of
things.
diagnosis. So who can diagnose scoliosis?
So if you go to your GP, for instance, because you have some pain or change in posture, change in your range of motion, they can do what we call observation. First of all, that would be the first step. If it's a very significant angle, you can just look and you can see. But otherwise, you need to do x-rays. So if you're doing x-rays, then you need a professional who knows how to read the x-rays to be able to diagnose. So your medical doctor can diagnose it. A chiropractor who's well accredited can also diagnose it. And there are other signs too. Even if you don't go to the hospital, there are other things that, you know, parents or even teachers can look out for in kids to determine if they have scoliosis or not. Here we don't, but in a lot of the Western countries, at least once a year, they do what we call scoliosis checks. Because it's quite common in children.
Wow.
So with scoliosis checks, you can look to see if shoulders are uneven. Sometimes the waistline, one hip may be higher than the other. Sometimes you can also see that they have something we call a hump on the back. Like one side of the shoulder blade may be popping out more. All these are signs that there could be scoliosis.
Okay, that's even in kids as well.
Yes, in kids.
So how is the detection done? What are the, you know, methods they use in detecting if you have any deformities?
Yes, so when you look at the x-rays, for instance, you can see the curves. When you feel the shoulder blades, for instance, you can see, or you can feel that one shoulder blade may be smaller than the other. For girls, for instance, sometimes you realize that maybe their vest or their bra strap, one side keeps falling off, because the shoulders are not even, right? So these are all simple signs. Or in the hospital, sometimes we'll ask them to try to touch their toes. So when they bend down, you realize that one side comes outward more than the other. So all these are simple. And then pain. Sometimes one of the most common signs for these problems is pain. And especially in children, you realize that they keep complaining, I have back pain, I have neck pain, and you may give them some medication, it doesn't go away. It means that you need to investigate to find why they keep having that pain.
Doc, what are the, you have another question, please go ahead.
You continue.
Are there health implications if treatment is not done early, if not early detected?
Yes.
How worse can it get?
So first of all, there are different angles. So if you have a scoliosis of less than 10 degrees, for instance, sometimes it can go away by itself. So we'll say, you know, observe and wait. But if it starts getting worse, as you get older, it goes from 10 degrees, 20 degrees, and that means that you are checking, right? You're doing x-rays maybe every other year or so to check. So if it progresses, then you can start with treatments. You always want to go from conservative to risky. So at Nova Wellness Center, we use chiropractic adjustments mainly for scoliosis. So with that, when we look at the x-ray, we know how the spine is curved. We can feel the spine. We can tell where the bones are not sitting well, and then we use our hands to correct it. So that's natural. Now, when the curve is 50 degrees or above, unfortunately, that is when surgery sometimes is absolutely necessary. Because if you look at the curves we're seeing now, sometimes it can bend so much that it affects your lungs. So when it affects your lungs, then breathe becomes a problem. your heart may also be affected. So it would cause circulatory problems. So when it's 50 degrees or above, that is when sometimes surgery is indicated. And we hope that people come and have it checked before they get to that degree, so that if it's something that can be managed naturally, then at Nova Wellness Center, we're able to use our natural treatment protocols to do that.
Absolutely. But Doc, in terms of scoliosis and hunchback, what's the difference?
Okay, so scoliosis is more of the side curve. So like I said, if you're looking at the spine from the front, it should be straight. But when you have scoliosis, there's a side curve.
Okay.
Now, when you have a hunchback, that is when you look at it from the side, your back is like that. So the hunchback is what we call afuche in Ghana, I think. Yes, so the back is rounded, or the upper back is rounded. That's what we call hyperkyphosis. Now, some people have both.
Scoliosis
And yes, so you can imagine. So the spine, in those people, the spine is bent this way, and then it's also bent to the side. So that would be very debilitating.
That brings me to this. Anita looks very shocked.
Yeah, I'm
it's
disturbed,
wild.
honestly, and very
wild.
worried as well.
It's wild. What are the lifestyle limitations that scoliosis can cause? Are there things that people with scoliosis shouldn't do?
So depending on the degree, if you have a mild scoliosis, really, you can live and not even know that it's there. But if you do, there are certain sports and certain activities that you might want to be very careful of. I always recommend that if you have scoliosis, one of the best things you should do is swim. You know, so I really recommend that for my patients, because swimming is the one exercise you do and you are working on all your muscles at the same time. And also, especially if it's affecting your lungs, when you swim, you know, it helps to strengthen your lungs because of the breathing. So scoliosis and swimming go very well.
Beautiful.
But otherwise, you want to look at exercises that, you know, won't put stress on your spine. So you want to make sure you are not bending too much, you are not bending into the curves and things like that. So if you have scoliosis, yes, you do have to be careful on how you go about your daily activities so that you don't make it worse.
Yeah, Doc, you touched on a few things that, you know, people are already doing, but if we could go more, other things that even in our daily lives, lifestyle habits, unintentionally, our posture and all of that. Now I'm trying to sit like this and then, you know, so that my spine is straight. But what are we not doing right that we need to be correcting?
Okay. So even simple things like lifting a pen or picking a pen up from the floor, you know, if you don't do it properly, it can put stress on the spine. So you always want to make sure you're bending at the knees instead of bending at your waist when you're going down to pick something from the floor. You always want to make sure you're using your phone more like that. Those simple things we always talk about, as opposed to looking down at the phone. Yes.
I was going to put you on the spot and throw the phone on the floor and let you pick it. Anita, please pick the phone.
Now wait.
Pick the phone.
You know I can pick it from here.
In fact, it's like I think the table is blocking the phone.
Pick it,
Pick it
let's
from
see.
here. Who, me? Come and pick the phone.
I should pick it from here.
Yeah.
Doc, please check it for me.
Okay.
So that, let me stand here. Yeah.
Okay. Give me,
Bend,
let me.
at the knees. So this is what you mean,
Nicely
dog.
done. Yes,
This-
with the heels.
I'm a lady, you
This is a
know.
lady. Dog,
I'm a
this-
lady. You thought I was
this
going
is
to
a-
bend like
This is the ladies' way of
No,
picking.
ladies,
she did it well.
that's how we pick. You have to pick like this.
A guy
You
should
don't
do this.
What's
I should
wrong
do-
with that?
No, I'm
To
just
save
asking.
your back.
You see
yes.
a lot of guys doing that.
But that's what you should
This
do.
is what they do every time you
Look at
bend.
this.
Just bend,
So you
yes.
shouldn't bend at your waist.
No, you should
Bend at
go
the knee.
into like a
Good, huh?
squat. Yes.
It's very classy that way, you know.
And then you save
If you
your
don't want to be
back.
classy, you can go this way.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's also cool, right?
Yeah, that works.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, that works.
Wow.
He wanted to put me on the spot,
Healthy
but
smile.
you know, yeah, I know my stuff. But,
So yeah, the process, and then but scoliosis cannot be cured, can it?
It depends on the cause, like we mentioned, you know. So if it's genetic, for instance, and you've inherited a gene from a parent, it may be very difficult to reverse it because this is something that you were born with. If it is caused through poor posture, or maybe you had an accident or a fall, it's possible that with the right exercises, with chiropractic adjustment, with decompression, you know, we can do all these things to improve it. But if it's like a 50-degree scoliosis, it may be very difficult to fix it. And that's why, unfortunately, sometimes surgery has to be done.
But
Yes.
Doc, if you're bending or doing any activity and you hear a little sound, some keke from the back,
Yes.
should you be concerned?
If it's just, it doesn't cause pain or it doesn't cause you not to move, then I wouldn't be worried about it. But if you hear that noise and then maybe you cannot move, or you have severe pain with the noise and that pain doesn't resolve, then you need to get it checked, because pain is there, it's gonna come. But the problem is if your body takes care of it, or if after a week that pain is still there, then you know that you have to get it checked.
Well, if you're looking for Dr. Asheli Ashite, you can find her at Novel Wellness Center. They are here in Accra at Jawolu, and in Kumasi you find them at Ataso Manso. If you want to call them, it's 054-958-6494, 054-958-6494 to book your appointment. At Novel Wellness Center, you say goodbye to pain and hello to wellness. Doc, so I'm bringing it up again, as we celebrate Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, a message to men out there who may be doing heavy liftings.
They want to do all the work
The
to
macho
show
stuff.
you get it.
You know, tell them why they need to protect their spine and
Yes.
avoid scoliosis.
So men, don't be all macho every day. You need to take care of yourselves as well. As you're lifting the weights and working hard, just make sure you have your spine checked as well.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very
Thank
important. I hope you get your spine checked.
I'm going to Novel Wellness
You've
right
been
after
lifting
here.
a lot of heavy weights, and so
Have I?
this message is for Godwin
Yes.
and all the Ghana's strongest men out there.
Right.
Yeah, you need to get your spine checked so that, you know, yeah.
It is well.
It is well.